On December 27, 1892, Livingstone and Biddle College, now known as Johnson C. Smith University, played in Salisbury, North Carolina, with Biddle winning 5-0. Over time, HBCU football has evolved. HBCU football's popularity continues to rise. Millions attend games each year and millions more watch on television. The HBCU bands provide some of the top entertainment in the country. Over that time, some of the best players to ever play in the National Football League played at HBCUs. Every Monday through Friday on the HBCU Football Daily Podcast, national radio and television host Donal Ware takes a look at what's happening in HBCU football and talks with coaches, players, administrators, and media about the season. Make sure you join the conversation on social media now. Here's your host, Donal Ware.
You've got it locked to the HBCU Football Daily Podcast for today, Friday, November the 3rd. I'm Donal Ware. It's Friday, week 10 in HBCU football. And boy, I tell you what, this week 10 promises to be something very, very special, particularly when you look at the SIAC, particularly when you look at the CIAA. A couple of teams have some opportunities to play in a conference championship game. Speaking of one of those teams, in his first season as the head football coach at Tuskegee is Aaron James. He's an alum of the university. And as a matter of fact, if Tuskegee wins, it's in against Benedict next week in the SIAC championship game, as Aaron James joins us here on the program. What's going on, Coach James?
Nothing much. Just trying to get these guys ready, prepared, and ready to go this weekend.
No doubt about it. Big game. Let me start here. Were you surprised when the D2 rankings came out that a team that you had beaten earlier in the season, Fort Valley State, was in fact in the rankings and Tuskegee was not?
I would, with the polls and everything, I wouldn't say I was surprised because, I mean, it's a hit and miss with it. Fort Valley have a tough team, and Coach Gibbs is doing an amazing job with those guys over there. And like I said, I wasn't surprised. Like I say, it's just a polls to me.
Yeah, your thoughts in terms of where your team sits right now, how the team has played. You're 7-2 on the season coming into this matchup against Miles on Saturday.
I think for us, like I said, we're 7-2, and like I said earlier, with the polls, with the position and the numbers that we are where we sitting at right now, that's just a number. I know our guys are well equipped and ready to go each week in and week out, and they bought into the system, and they play hard. And I know you probably looked at some of those games, and we was down in some games, and we had the defense had to get out of a lot of those games, and offensively we scored when we needed to score to win the game. So, I mean, we got a good young team, and they're ready to be battle-tested and ready to roll.
After the loss to Edward Waters, you come right back the next week, get the win on the road, by the way, at Savannah State. It's a tough – look, I realize Savannah State's record is what it is. Savannah State has like 2 or 3 wins, so it's a solid program. Speak to getting that victory, bouncing back after a loss and still staying in contention for the SIAC championship game.
Oh, that was a big win for us. The SIAC, week in and week out, we got to come play ball. This is a tough league, and I think with guys looking on the outside, looking in, just looking at names of each of the colleges that always been at the top of the list, each year. And but like I say, each year these guys, this conference is tough. And for us to be able to bounce back from that loss against Edward Waters homecoming, those guys fought back in that Savannah State game, and we pulled it out.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Speak to the you were the offensive coordinator there, meaning at your alma mater on last year. Of course, got the head coaching job, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. How do you feel like the offense has played so far this season?
We still at times we sputtered sometimes, but we've been through. I played 4 quarterbacks, and we did that last year. But either one of those guys that get in, I know their skill set, what they're good at. But those guys rally around, the other players rally around anybody that's in the game behind the center. So I love my group. I love my team, and those guys, they fight week in and week out.
Playing, is that by design in terms of playing a couple of quarterbacks?
Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not. I mean, sometimes a quarterback has to get in a rhythm, and sometimes with me being a former quarterback, I know what it takes, and I know what a rhythm looks like for the guys that have the hot hand to go into the game, and then I just play it by ear and just see how they perform it throughout each series.
And that running game has been very consistent for you all season long. You've got a stable of running backs. You're averaging close to 150 yards rushing per game.
Yes, we got like I said, we got a young team and we got some young backs in the backfield. So those guys are carrying the load and in the offensive lineman that we got, they're making holes for those guys. But they're good, hard, tough runners, and like I said, they're real young and they battle tested.
Aaron James is in his first season as the head football coach at his alma mater, Tuskegee, as he joins us here on the program. Look, it doesn't matter who maybe, well, it does, but you know what I mean in terms of who the quarterback is. When you got a guy like Antonio Meeks, this guy is absolutely unbelievable. He's averaging almost 20 yards per reception. He had a really, really good season last year as well, your wide receiver. Speak to how well he's playing.
I mean, he's a young guy as well. He was a true freshman last year, started, and his skill set is amazing. I just knew that coming into this season, he worked so hard this off season in the summer and just trying to put his game to the to a high level, and he's done that. But he had an injury and he missed like 3 games, but he bounced back and he is like he never left.
And that's the thing. Let me switch to the defensive side of the football, because I think sometimes you can look at the numbers and maybe, you're giving up yardage-wise about 230 yards passing per game. At the end of the day, however, you got 17. That defense has got 17 interceptions. Like, that's a lot of interceptions. Michael King's got 5 of those interceptions.
He got 6.
6. Okay, he's got 6. Yeah. They shortchanged him here, Coach James, on one of them. Your thoughts in terms of the way that the defense has played so far this year.
Man, the defense has been playing lights out. Like looking at the stats, I mean, it doesn't show what they're doing on the field. But my defensive coordinator, Rashard Watson, and those defensive coaches on that side of the ball, they do an amazing job week in and week out with those guys, getting them prepared and ready to go for the game. So, like I say, we got a young group, and Michael King, he was a receiver last year, and his skill set is amazing as well. So we put him over at the defensive side of the ball, like the second game of the season, and he just blossomed into a phenomenal player.
And I guess it helps, right? Like, a lot of times they say, well, corners or defensive backs may not. That's why they're playing that position, because maybe they don't catch the ball so great. But man, this guy's a converted wide receiver, so he's getting when he gets his hands on that football, he's going to make that pick.
Oh yes, he got a knack for the ball. And like I said, for him being a receiver, he knows different angles and adjustment he has to make to catch the ball. So when that ball is in the air, 50-50 ball, I'm expecting him to come down with it.
No doubt about it. Your thoughts on Miles and maybe some of the challenges the Golden Bears present?
They got Coach Sam Shade. He's doing an amazing job with that group over there. They got a lot of talent on the field, and a couple of those guys was playing when I was over there coaching as well. So, he's doing an amazing job with those guys. I think they're a really solid team, and we just got to be prepared and ready to go.
For you, what does it mean to be the head football coach at your alma mater?
Oh, it means everything. Knowing that I put in the work, playing here as a student athlete, and coming back and coaching, and now I'm sitting in this seat where I'm at now. It's amazing. Coach Ruff, well, my AD Ruffin, I want to thank him for giving me this opportunity. Without that, I'll just be a old ball coach. But I'm excited about the opportunity, and I just think that for me being in this seat and then just knowing how to give those guys the information that I've received when I was playing here back in the day. So, it's exciting.
Now, did you get the job in March?
No, I got the job in December of this past season.
Okay, you got it. You got it in December, which is traditional. So how have you grown in now these really almost 11 full months now as the head football coach at your alma mater?
I think I've grown pretty well. Last season, Coach Ruffin really he gave me the keys a little bit last season for me being the head coach and waiting. But I think I've grown, and it's a lot on my plate. But I always like a challenge, so it's nothing really nothing I can't handle.
In the SIAC, like how have you seen it? I don't know, grow, change, whatever the case may be in 20 years. I think your last year may have been 2001, so a little bit more than 20 years. How have you seen the SIAC change / grow?
It's more of a passing league now. Just seeing everything for us. Back in the day, it was more traditional under center, ISO lead power. But nowadays, I mean, for us offensive wise, it's more spread, and just in the conference alone, you got programs with better facilities and everything. That's a plus. So we got our facility upgraded last year, and it was way overdue. But just looking at it from back then to now, that's what I think that's biggest change.
Aaron James again in his first season as the head football coach of his alma mater, Tuskegee. Big time showdown in Fairfield, Alabama on Saturday. Tuskegee on the road at Miles. A win means the Golden Tigers are in to the SIAC championship game. Coach James, appreciate the time. Good luck and continued success to you and Tuskegee.
Thank you. And I also want to say, I mean, my coaching staff does an amazing job. I know I left off my talking about my offensive side of the ball, but my offensive coaches, they hold me down. For me calling the plays and happen to, be absent at times, but they step in and just make sure that everything is running well. So my hat's off to my offensive staff.
Absolutely.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the HBCU Football Daily Podcast. You can also listen to the podcast at boxtorow.com, iHeartMedia, or wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to get your HBCU football fix on Box to Row with Donal Ware each weekend on the radio station near you, and on SiriusXM on HBCU, Channel 142, and on ESPNU Radio on SiriusXM, Channel 84. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Box to Row for the latest in HBCU football, and don't forget to tell a friend.